What is up, Broncos Country? It is Tuesday, August 27th, 2024, and today is the 53-man roster episode. The Denver Broncos officially cut their roster to the initial 53 for the season, and now here we are on the cusp of it. We have a lot to talk about. We can talk about who went where, who is staying, and why. Oh, I'm so excited. Guys, this is the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast here on the Orange and Blue Network and Mile High Roundtable. Let's go.
So smooth, the pins to chew, breaking down plays about to debut. Denver pride in every view, nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Bright lights of my heart in our view. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. From draft picks to game reviews, celebrating wins, analyzing the clues. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. No orange and blue.
Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast.
What is up, Broncos Country? How y'all doing today? This is the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast here on the Orange and Blue Network and on the MHRT Network. We are so excited to be here with you tonight. It's a big day for Broncos Country. It's the official end of the preseason, the official beginning of the regular season for the Denver Broncos and for all of Broncos Country. Jay, how the hell are you tonight?
Doing good, man. A lot of predictions and crystal balls are to bed. We know 53. We've seen some moves. Some interesting news around the NFL, obviously, as well. You know, we all live in our bubble of the Denver Broncos, but it's interesting to see the turmoil in other people's roster decisions as well. So really good day. Very, news heavy day. That's for sure.
Very news heavy. I mean, it's just been such a day. There's been so much, and I mean, I for one, kept missing it, with work and everything. So I was doing my best to keep up. But that's okay. That's okay because after I get off work, I can sit down and I can obsess, I can prepare, and I can get us ready to go live on this show, the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast here on the Orange and Blue Network. I am your host, Johnny Bakke. With me, as always, my cousin, my childhood best friend, Jay, the Denver Dream Weaver. What's up, cuz?
Heidi ho, Ranger Joes. Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here on a fun Tuesday night.
Before we go any further, I actually have something fun that Jay found today and sent me, and now I'm going to share it with all of you, just to put to bed any doubts that Jay and I are, real life cousins, lifelong best friends, any of that. Here is a picture from nearly, Jay, almost had to be at least 18 years ago, maybe almost 20.
Almost 20 years ago. That's
almost 20
fucking
years
depressing.
ago, Jay and I, after one of my high school football games. I mean, dude, look at these babies. Look at these two. I mean, what the hell? Look at
very sad. Very sad. We're old, Johnny. We're very
we
old.
are old. We are very, very old. I mean, dude, first of all, look how skinny we both were.
Very true.
I mean, I was still playing, so and I was involved in all my sports. This is before, obviously I didn't get fat till after the army, but the fact is, look at how thin we were. I'm rocking just a little soul patch on my chin. And Jay, I mean, I remember this, dude. You and your puka shell necklaces and your Abercrombie and Fitch look with the long curly hair. Dude.
I unfortunately will admit I did work at Hollister for a hot sec.
Mhm.
So I had plenty of Jake surrounding me.
Just saying. I said it today when you sent me this. I was like, look at us, dude. We look like a couple of preppy douchebags.
Yep. Yep. And here we
Oh,
are with 3 children now and fat and old and
3 children
just
each, man. Like, look at us.
woof
Like,
woof.
look at those babies, man. Like,
Yeah.
seriously. What?
Pretty cray cray. Pretty cray cray.
Oh man, but that's fun. It's really fun to be able to like reminisce like that. Look back at the photos of us. What I really want to do, I want to find a picture of me and you as like little kids, like in the
Hmm.
yard, out in the yard at play doing something because I know that they exist, and I want to throw one up here one time, just so everybody can see that we've been doing, we have been like this all our lives.
Tis true.
It is
Pretty nuts,
very true.
man.
But anyway, that was fun. I just had to do that, guys. Thank you for bearing with me Jay and I took a little walk down memory
Reminisce.
lane. Um, oh, did you get it? Did you get it?
Yeah, I gotta fly.
Well
Been
done,
bugging
Mr.
me all
Miyagi.
day.
Now I want you to do this. Now I want you to grab some chopsticks. All right, you know, we're
Ooh.
gonna this hand wax on, this hand wax off this thing. Okay.
Cut it out.
All right, guys. This is the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast here on the Orange and Blue Network, also partnered with the Mile High Roundtable. If you have not already, I beg of you, please jump on over to the Orange and Blue Network. Give us a like, subscribe, share, and comment on YouTube, X, Facebook. Find us everywhere you listen to your favorite audio podcasts as well. Then jump on over to MHRT Network. Give us a like, subscribe, share, and comment on YouTube, X, Facebook, Twitch. Hell, we're even on Instagram. Guys, help us out. Give us those likes, those subscribes. Share it out there. Let's build the family. Let's grow the Orange and Blue crew. And of course, we have to. We're just gonna get all the housekeeping out of the way early.
Roll call.
Spend the rest of the show doing nothing but talking Broncos. So tonight's show is brought to you by Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend over there at dubby.gg. You can find the link in the bio below. Dubby is absolutely amazing stuff, you guys. It's so delicious. I'm going to try to bring, there we go. It is so delicious. Comes in a bunch of really good flavors, and every single cup contains 2 cups of coffee worth of caffeine. But the best part is there is no sugar. There is no calories. There's no maltodextrin or fillers or artificial colors. It is as natural as it gets. It's nothing but amino acids, B vitamins, caffeine, and nootropics. The nootropics help keep you sharp throughout your day. And then, of course, without all the sugar in it, there is no crash and there is no jitters later. So Dubby's the stuff, you guys. Jump on over to Dubby. Get yourself the dub by punching in code NRWOB10. That's NRWOB10 at the checkout. That'll get you 10% off your order. So, guys, teach me how to Dubby. Boom. All right. And Mr. Master of Merch, would you please tell us what we're working with today?
Well, it's almost hoodie weather, boys and girls. I don't know about you, but in my parts, this is like the last hurrah of like hot weather, and then we're finally trending into like at least 70s fall weather, where we're finally gonna get some cool nights, and I'm excited to break out the hoodies. So these are some super high quality hoodies, like them a lot, multiple designs. Even got this plum one, or maroon, as someone say. But good selections about here in the merch store. So come and get it.
That link is also in the bio beneath, everybody. So make sure you jump on over there, get yourself some swag, show the world that you are an Orange and Blue crew. Now, that being said, that's all the housekeeping. We can move on. It's Broncos time, baby. Jay, the initial, and I say initial because obviously things can happen in the coming days. Nabbing guys off of practice squads, catching guys on the waiver wire, signing guys that have been released. Anything can happen. But right now, this is the initial 53-man roster. It has been released. It has been finalized. It was turned into to the league today. And now we know who made the team and who didn't. And I don't know about you. I found some surprises on there.
Yeah, I was very surprised on some things. Some things I wasn't surprised upon. I mean, we got a head warning, about Tim Patrick. We knew that was coming. I didn't think he would be picked up by the Lions as quick as he was. Like literally, like fucking 30 seconds
He's
into
good,
being a
though,
free
and
agent.
he's reliable. I'm not that surprised that he's picked up that quick.
And he's going to succeed extremely well with Detroit because they need an X. They need a big body. That's the thing that their offense is missing. So he's going to be a shoo-in for a playoff contending, Super Bowl contending team. Good for him. Timmy P deserves it.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
But, it feels good. I mean, if you really think about it, the preseason just ended on Sunday, which we knew that. I mean, we witnessed it. We did the pre and post game shows for that, and
Yeah.
that was great. But one thing that that I think of this time when the 53-man roster cut, that is the unofficial beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the real beginning is week 1 against the Seahawks in Seattle. I get that. But as of right now, it feels good that we can know who we're going into that game 1 with.
Shit gets real today. Today's like when like things start. The team has started now.
Yeah.
And can I coin this? I mean, I'm going to go off of this Nets theme here for a year. We are the baby Broncos. I venture to say we are going to be one of the youngest teams in the league by quite a bit, because we essentially have just been purging any non-Sean Payton players. And I think this day in and itself is a great reminder of that this team is ready to go for the future, not necessarily this year. It's more important about the development of some of these young players and getting them some reps, getting them some experience, compared to winning today. And that is a stark contrast between the previous years that we've had with band-aiding a lot of positions with vets. That, I'm just glad we've moved forward in our philosophy of team building, because I'm ready for actual success, not just,
Absolutely.
a continuation of mediocre team play. So it's an exciting day, honestly, to kind of get a direction of where George and Sean want this team to go.
Absolutely. And I mean, it really did it go exactly as all of us wanted it to go? Probably not. I mean, let's be absolutely honest here. Does it ever go? Is everybody ever always happy? No, never.
No,
It can never happen.
there's always
But-
surprises.
Always, and that's okay. I mean, let's but before we go further, let's give some shout outs to our family, our orange and blue crew here. We got D-Rock in the house, Mile High Country.
Yeah.
We got the one, the only Shy Vargas popping in the house saying "Go Broncos." The always reliable Blitz B repping popping in. Mr. Skinny Bob Skinner coming in. Let's buck and go. Buck yeah, bro.
You
We got
betcha.
a fellow host on the Orange and Blue Network in Mile High and MHRT, a 6'10" Mexican, a Don Diaz, saying Broncos Country. What's up? We've got let's see who else we got here. We got Dave Full Glass Glassman popping in. NRW crew.
Full glass.
What's up? It's good to see all of you. We love you all, and we're so happy you're here. And I mean, Shy is right here asking us, how do we feel about the 53-man roster? I mean, Jay, why don't you lead off with that one?
I think there's more to come. I think there are some incomplete positional groups that on the whole right now don't necessarily make sense to us. I don't think anyone that I've heard of, all podcasts, all beat writers, everyone thought we were just carrying 5 wide receivers today. No chance. So there are going to be future signings, future roster moves. Like you said, like this is the initial 53. This is maybe not what we're going to come into tow with week 1. There'll be some finagling. So I'm hopeful, but like I said in my intro, my overall feeling to this 53 is that we are extremely young, extremely inexperienced, very green, but that creates a brand new culture that Sean Payton can mold and cultivate. And that is going to allow our team to gel and mesh together so that they can grow for years to come. Because we have a lot of cheap rookie contracts on books that theoretically will be here for years to come. And that's
Young
a great
bucks,
thing.
Man. Lots of youth, which I think, we'll go into the actual 53-man roster 100. We'll actually dive deep into it here in a few minutes. But, I think this is a good time, based on literally what you just said, to jump into our first segment of the night, which is That's What He Said.
What did he say?
Yay. Okay. That's What He Said, where we go over some things said in press conferences by coaches, players, even media personnel sometimes. Excuse me. The first one I'm going to play, this is a clip of the interview done today with I believe it was a phone interview with the members of Broncos media and George Payton, the GM. Now, it's just a little clip. The first voice you're going to hear is Mike Kliss of 9 News asking George, because he always gets the start. Mike Kliss always gets the start because he's Mike Kliss. And he asks George Payton about the youth on this team. And I find it kind of interesting what George Payton had to say here. So,
hi, George. Some interesting 53-man roster decisions. It seemed to me like, to a large degree, youth kind of broke a lot of ties. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think we're Sean has said it a number of times, Mike. We're young and hungry, and that was before the cuts. But we also have experience in some key areas, and we're just trying to put together our best 53 and win. Regardless of youth, but it is nice to have some youth. As you know, the roster's fluid as we get to the wire tonight, so that could change a little bit. But we don't mind young players, that's for sure.
So I mean, I thought that was very interesting. Just Mike Kliss, which, by the way, I'm not sure if Mike had dental surgery or something done. He definitely sounds a little different right now than he usually does.
Yeah, suckering succotash. A little bit of that.
We've had him on the show before. That's not how Mike Kliss normally sounds. So whatever's going on with you, Mike, praying for you. Hope you're doing. Hope it's everything's well. But I like what he had to say. I like that he said that, yes, we love the youth. The youth is great, but really we're just trying to build the best 53 we can. And I mean, ultimately that can change, like he said, with the waiver wire and everything else. But I like what he had to say about the youth movement that is currently going on the Broncos. What say you?
I mean, yeah, man. Just look at our secondary for an example. Going from Kareem Jackson and Justin Simmons to, Brandon Jones now, I guess, starting, and we'll see if he actually starts week 1. But I mean, we have an extremely inexperienced safety and free safety group, at least that's on the roster at this point in time without any other additions. You have that group that stands out to me as far as being very green. And then, honestly, this running back room, very green. I mean, Pirine was a vet, and I don't know if you necessarily consider Javonte a vet because he was out for an entire year in an experience sense. He's really, yeah, I guess so. But and I've been floating this places, and I'm not gonna drop this until we see it finalized. But Javonte Williams may be not on this roster week 1. I'm just saying. I kept saying it because we saw Audric Estime receive passes out of the backfield, which is something we never saw out of college from him. And I just kind of feel like those plays in the preseason were intentional to kind of flex his ability to see, like, all right, Estime, like, I don't want it to be a give that every time you're on the field, you're going to be a short yardage running back. Javonte is a short yardage running back. At the end of the day, he's not a burner. He's not running away from anyone. He never has been in his entire career. He's a thumper. So we have some overlap of skill sets here. And so the Blake Watson ad is just very peculiar to me. And there's more to come, man. I just feel like there's more to come here.
You're killing me, Smalls.
It's unpopular, but you know what? So was not having Justin Simmons on this roster, and I was one of the first to say I'm all good with that as well.
Real quick, are you able to hear it when with the soundboard?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
But I was noticing that last pod as well that I can't hear it when I click it, but you can hear it. So I don't know what all
It's
that's
weird.
about. But
It's definitely weird, but okay. We got a new name in the house. Bryce Maines. New name to us. Saying, can we see this? Yes, we can. He says, go Broncos, go Bo Nix. I love it. Thank you, Bryce. This is to you. Cheers.
heck yeah, man.
We always toast our new names on this show. That's what we do. So welcome, Bryce.
For sure.
Welcome to the Orange and Blue crew. All right. So I mean, I liked what he had to say about the youth movement. It is a very young team. However, I think
It is very.
I think it has the potential to be a very talented team as long as they do what the hell Sean Payton says. And as long as they stick to the game plan, I think they can make it happen. Because Sean Payton, I can't quote an exact year off the top of my head. I will have to do the research, and I'm really not feeling like doing it right now. Sean Payton has been very successful with a very young team before in New Orleans. I want to say it was like the 2009 Saints.
So, Johnny, I want to bring up a quote that he said about quarterbacks, but I think it is a apparent thing about his overall philosophy of roster building. He said in the prospecting of new quarterbacks, he's like, we are hoping that we are better and we know more than everybody else in the league. Like we know better. We see it clearer. And having as many undrafted free agents or undrafted rookies on this team as we do, I think is a clear sign of that. Like we think we know what we have more so than the league. Like
sure. I mean, and that's the thing. You can look, well-known names disappeared from this team today.
They did.
And Sean Payton has no qualms about letting them go. See ya. I mean, he doesn't. Yep. He doesn't, because in his mind, if it's going to benefit the team, they're gone. I mean, yep. We saw it with the guy who's supposed to be the face of our franchise for the next 5 years, in Russell Wilson. I mean, yep. The guy's a household name. 2, he was one of the highest paid players in NFL history. And and because he did not make this team better, but because he was holding this team back, Sean Payton was like, I don't give a fuck what your name is or who you've been. Dude, you're holding this team back. We're gonna pay you $85 million to walk away.
Yep.
And so that's a huge sign to me that of exactly what you're saying there, brother.
Timmy P. Dave Glassman says Timmy P's a fan favorite and will be missed. Same thing. What have you done for me lately? And that's sad to say. It's callous. It's cold. But you can say the same thing.
You saw him. He showed up in the preseason.
One game in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But and you say the same exact thing about Jonas Griffith. What have you done for me lately? And that's why he's not on this roster.
Yeah, and I mean, again, there's another big name that left this team today. Another well-known Broncos name. The next segment, or the next that's what he said I want to go into, is from Sunday's press conference with Sean Payton following the win, against Arizona in preseason game 3, and he just talks about the chemistry of this team. And I think it's a very good clip, and it's very insightful, and I really enjoyed what he had to say. So
I would say I'm encouraged with not only the rookie class relative to the draft picks, but some of the new players that came in that were signed in free agency, and then overall the makeup and chemistry of this team. I would say it's entirely different from a year ago, and so that's not a surprise, but it's something you notice, you feel, and that's encouraging.
So, I mean, of course, he could just be blowing smoke right up our asses if he wants to be, because that's what he can do.
He does that.
But in talking about the chemistry, he says it's not only something that you notice, it's something you feel. He's saying it's palpable. You can feel it. And
Mhm.
I feel like that's something that has been missing, not just in the
Sure.
the Sean Payton era. True chemistry on this team has been missing for many years. There's been you talked about in previous episodes, Jay, that there was a lot of all about me guys on this team, and
How about Jerry Judy?
those guys were holding the team back in a lot of their own ways. And that's not the only thing that was holding us back, but it was definitely a contributor, I would say.
Yeah.
So when he's talking about chemistry now, and that's the thing, I feel like what we saw, and again, it was just the preseason, but I feel like I could see natural chemistry between on all sides of the ball. Chemistry between players, chemistry between units. There was chemistry on the field. They knew what each other was going to do. They were where they needed to be for each other. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I like what he had to say about the chemistry because not only did we see it, but he said you can feel it, and I agree.
Well, you typically have more me players the longer you're in the league and the more money that you've already made in recognition. We've got a lot of unproven talent that haven't had that second contract and that are starving to have success and starving to have opportunity. We got dogs. And I am very happy to be able to have a team culture built around players that are striving to constantly be better because they know that their spot's not guaranteed. Whereas somebody that's sitting on tons of guarantees in their contract is going to sit back a little bit and probably not try as hard. And we've got an entire roster full of that role of a player. And that's so refreshing compared to years previous, man. Because it's
Absolutely.
been a lot of that years previous.
I couldn't have said it better myself. And with that, we'll end. That's what he said for the night. And we'll just move on. Let's talk 53-man roster. I mean, let's talk about who made the team. There was some very notable cuts, and I would like to take just a second to name the cuts of the last, on this roster of the last 2 days, and basically say thank you for everything you did this offseason, getting the starters ready, helping the starters get ready. Thank you for putting in your best effort, and we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors.
You can do it!
Ultimately, we may not, I'm not sure what that was, but oh, okay. Because ultimately, we harbor no ill will against you, where even if you made some boneheaded choices or boneheaded mistakes, we do hope the best for you because you suited up in orange and blue. That makes you part of the family. So, the names of those cut in the last several days. Cornerback Art Green, punter Trenton Gill, who, by the way, booted that 70-yard punt in Game 3. I mean, good God.
Yeah. If that's a boomer.
If he could be as accurate as Riley Dixon is, because that's what Riley Dixon is a master of. Riley Dixon is incredibly accurate at putting the ball where he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And real quick before I continue, Dave Glassman just says it, and you could soon be on the practice squad. So
True.
We look forward to possibly seeing you soon. Still suited
We've
up.
already heard about some guys already
Yes,
about practice squatters. So
absolutely. But released from the 53-man, or released from the active roster, cornerback Art Green, punter Trenton Gill, wide receiver Philip Dorsett had a pretty good preseason as well. Inside linebacker Andre Smith Jr., offensive guard Oliver Jervis, inside linebacker Alec Mock. Running back Samaje Perine. Saw that writing was on the wall, but good luck to you wherever you end up next. It won't be on our practice squad, I promise you.
No, it will not. He'll make a roster.
Let's see. Wide receiver Tim Patrick. We already know he's headed to Detroit where I think Tim Patrick will finally get to compete.
He's going to ball out, man.
He's going to. And I think they said, I did read that he's going to start on someone else's, probably on their practice squad and work his way up to the active.
Formality.
But yeah. It's a formality. Defensive back Omar Brown, defensive lineman Anello Blackson, cornerback Caleb Hayes, wide receiver Jalen Virgil. This one surprised me a little bit because he was very good on special teams.
True. I guess I would have thought Brandon Johnson would have made it before him in the pecking order, I guess, of wide receivers that did get cut.
Yep. Running back Tyler Beatty, who balled out in his own way in preseason. He looked very good, and we hope to see him on the practice squad soon. Wide receiver Brandon Johnson, like you just said, I think he'll be a practice squad guy for us. He has been before, and I think
We'll see if he gets claimed, man. I mean,
yeah,
he's been hanging out there for a couple of years, so
yeah.
someone might nab him.
Cornerback Reese Taylor, wide receiver David Sills, who that poor guy's bounced all around the league for 5 years.
Yep.
I wish him the best. Tight end Thomas Yasmin, outside linebacker DeAndre Tillman, tight end Hunter Campmoyer, linebacker Darrell. I never got his name pronounced right. Nashami, I believe it is. This one surprised me. This one didn't surprise me, but it makes me a little sad because I gave him a game ball after the third preseason game. Outside linebacker. I lost it there. Thomas In-Com.
Yeah. He was on the roster last year, I believe.
Yes,
he was on 53.
Yes, he was. But I mean, dude, with Ellis coming up the way he has, there's no way you can keep him off the field.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you got wide receiver or inside linebacker Jonas Griffith, defensive lineman Matt Henningsen. It's taken him quite a few
Very surprised by that too. That guy had some meaningful snaps last year. I mean, he's a player. He's going to make another 53.
Absolutely. Wide receiver Michael Bandy, I think I may have already said. Offensive lineman Sam Mustafer, offensive lineman Will Sherman, offensive lineman Nick Gargiulio, Nick Gargiulio, offensive lineman Demontre Jacobs, offensive guard Calvin Throckmorton. That one makes me sad just because I've already said it. I love Throckmorton, the name.
I'm surprised he was dropped. I really am. I think he could be a practice squatter.
Yep. And then you got safety Tanner McAllister, cornerback Quentin Newsome, defensive lineman Elijah Garcia. You had wide receiver Little Jordan Humphrey.
Which was already announced. He will be a practice squatter, and he will start week 1. He will be dressed week 1. Sorry.
This is the one that surprised me. The next one I'm about to say is the one that surprised me more than any of the others I saw. Fullback Mike Burton.
Big conversation we need to have about that. Let's do a full stop here.
I understand the reason, but yeah.
Versatility. Now, it's also been said that Burton is going to be a practice squatter as well. I can almost guarantee he's not getting claimed because a majority of teams in the league don't even carry a fullback. So it's not like they're going to go pluck one from a practice squad. So he'll be a reserve. He'll be there, and he was released purely because I think Sean Payton knows that he's not going to get claimed. So why not give that roster spot up?
And you can say it. Yeah, you're right about the versatility. He is a fullback entirely. That's what he does. But you have Nate Adkins who can play tight end and fullback. And I get
sense.
why. I get why. I just, you know that I have a ridiculous love in my heart for the fullback position, Jay, because I played it some. And so I hate to see, and now that the NFL has moved so far away from them, and we were one of the last teams that truly employs a fullback, to watch the only actual fullback go off this team after years of having, Jano and Burton and I can't remember who was before them. But to have, it's the end of an era in Denver, the official fullback position, at least for now.
Shout out to the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Just recently had Howard Griffith, famous Broncos fullback, on their show.
Absolutely.
So, but I think it'll be interesting though. I think it'll end up that Atkins will be one of the first cut for someone like a Quinn Bailey coming back, or Damari Mathis coming back, someone off of an IR, somebody, a vet cut that we want to add. Like, this isn't solidified yet, but just to protect him. Just to protect him right now.
It still makes me sad to see it.
Yeah.
Last one on the cuts was defensive lineman Jordan Miller. Then, of course, we have to mention that there are 2 players placed on the PUP. That's linebacker Drew Sanders and safety Delaren Turner-Yell. They'll be on the physically unable to perform list, which gives them basically 4 weeks before they can come back. And then we have a short-term IR for Damari Mathis that gives him 6 weeks. to come back. Oh, look at you. Look
So,
at you. So happy.
Hey, and let me just say, shout out Mr. Blitzby repping out there. If he's still out there, I
he's out there.
I will say real quick here. Damari Mathis had trade rumors, trade interest, teams calling about Damari Mathis, and that's an injured Damari Mathis. Have you? Those reports came out after his injury, so like there's something to be said about that guy continuing to be on our roster. He's going to play significant time this year. He's got a minor injury. He will come back with a vengeance.
I don't know how minor it is, dude. A 6-week hiatus is not a minor injury. But
well, relatively speaking, it is. Like, we've got 3 weeks before, kickoff, 2 weeks before kickoff.
2 weeks.
So
2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks now.
It's not that big a deal. So
no, it's not. But
he'll be back.
He'll be back, but I still think Riley Moss won the job, even if Damari Mathis hadn't gotten.
I would agree. I would agree with you. So, I'll secede to that.
All right, we got another new name in the house, Alex Smith. I'm thinking possibly not to be confused with the former Chiefs quarterback.
Sorry about your leg.
Yeah, going to miss number 12, Tim Patrick. So are we, and here's to you. Welcome to the Orange and Blue crew, Alex. Yeah, we're definitely gonna miss Timmy P, and maybe one of these days we'll do a tribute to him. I might try to reach out to him again. I got to have a sit down and talk to him a long time ago, when he was still rehabbing. 2 years ago, I want to say. Yeah,
his
2 years
first
ago.
injury.
His first injury when he was still rehabbing that. He and I got to sit down. I had a nice discussion with him, and he had said at the time he would love to come on the show. He just didn't know when his time would allow it. So I might still reach out and see if I can't get him on here, because regardless of the fact that he may very soon end up in silver and blue, he will always be orange and blue to me. He's just one of those guys. Orange and blue for life, baby.
For real.
All right, so I think it's time we talk about the 53-man roster. What you say?
Yeah, let's chop it up.
All right, so let's bring it up. Who do we want? Which side of the ball we want to discuss first?
Let's start with offense. I think that has the most meat on the bones.
You're absolutely right. So bringing it up, the official depth chart, as brought to you by the Denver Broncos website, denverbroncos.com, or I think it's just, broncos.com.
Well, not depth chart, because that was pointed out by DNVR Zach Stevens of like, hey, this is filtered by roster number, because he pointed of like, hey, wait a tick, Zach Wilson, number one right there.
Sorry. Just the official roster, the official initial roster. So obviously, everybody who said they were going to carry all three quarterbacks was completely correct.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know that Bo Nix is the starter, and we're very excited about it because, man, do we suddenly Bo lead.
I thought you said go, Bo, go.
And then, of course, you've got Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham. I think one of them will end up being used as the placeholder during the season, and the other will just stay in reserve for if Bo goes down.
Yep.
And knocking on wood on that, though. Knocking on wood. I'm right over here knocking on it. Bo's not going to go down, right, Broncos Country?
And we'll continue to shop. I believe we're still actively shopping either one of them. We'll see how that goes.
You can do it. I love it. Okay, so, we're very excited about the quarterback situation right now because a lot of us believe that we finally have a franchise caliber quarterback ready to lead this team into the future.
Yep.
And I know I'm one of them. I could be absolutely off base. I could be absolutely wrong in the end. But right now, I stand by Bo Nix big time.
Yeah.
All right. Running back room. Jay.
That's the most controversial one, in my opinion, is this running back.
Oh my God. 4 guys.
List. Yeah. I just don't believe that's how we're getting into the season. Maybe Blake Watson will be a late scratch and a late cut, and we don't end up actually carrying him. That's totally possible. Again, it's just the initial 53. If we find a vet in another position group that we value more than what Blake Watson brings to the table, I know for undrafted rookies, we guaranteed him quite a bit of money in the scale of undrafted rookies, and there was quite a bit of suitors for him. So if we put him on practice squad, he would have been gobbled up in a second. We know this.
Absolutely.
We overpaid for him to sign him as an undrafted rookie. So I'm not that surprised. Follow the money, I guess, for specifically that. But I want to bring up, I watched the 5280 podcast right before this on the MHRT network. And Cameron Parker made a really good point that I had not thought about when it comes to this room. With the new kickoff rules, and it being more conducive to not a wide receiver returning, but a running back returning, Blake Watson could absolutely be trained as a returner and would be a phenomenal returner at that.
And I had not even thought of that until just now when you said it. Of course,
makes
channeling our
sense.
dear friend
Cameron Parker, shout out for that thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Big shout out to Cam. He's a good friend. We love him to death, and thank you for that. But that's a great point. I mean, I've said it week after week. These new kickoff rules look more like a running play than anything.
It does. It does.
And, when it's forced to be returned, when it hits in the landing zone or it's touched, and it's forced to be returned under these new rules, it shapes out like a running play. So that's absolutely incredible. I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
I didn't even think about that. So that's absolutely a good point to make. Of course, and Jay is over here saying we may try to trade Javonte Williams. I don't think so.
Cowboys week 1 starter, although Dalvin Cook, I know Dalvin Cook there's rumors of him signing in Dallas, but Dallas is going to get a running back, and I just thought that would be a perfect fit for Javonte. But
it would. But I also think that he's your most. I also do think right now of the guys in this running back roster, he is the most talented and the most experienced running back in that room right now.
I would totally agree with you.
And when I say that, the only reason that gives me pause at the possibility of him going elsewhere is because right now, with Bo being so young and this current scheme that he and Sean Payton are running, it is so heavy on the play action, which means you have to have a strong running game.
Yep.
And
you're right.
Without a strong running game, you can't play action. If you can't play action, this offensive scheme falls apart. So I don't think I would be willing to give up our best running back at this time. While we're still trying to develop this new young offense this way under Sean Payton. I just don't see that being.
It would depend on the return as well, because it's an expiring contract that we're going to get nothing for if we just let him walk.
Maybe, but again, besides the point.
True.
I think it benefits us better in the long run to keep him on this team this year, at least, to give Bo, that safety,
security.
That security. Yeah. And then if next season you decide to try to shop him somewhere else, okay. Bo's had a year in the league at that point. He's developed some. He's kind of come into his own a bit more. I'd be more okay with it. But I can tell you right now, if I was to hear tomorrow that we just traded Javonte Williams to the Cowboys or some shit, I'd be like, seriously?
Well, I'm just saying, Johnny, there ain't going to be no shopping next year for Javonte, because that would mean we would have to extend and trade. And the moment we drafted Audric Estime was the moment I knew Javonte was gone.
You're right about that. But if we did it tomorrow,
are you serious right now, bro?
Maybe that's a trade deadline. Maybe that's the end of the season. Let's see where we are record-wise, situational-wise, and that's down the road discussion. But
we'll see. Steve Atwater. We'll see. All right. Wide receivers. This one, I'm not terribly shocked about any of them. That made the 53.
Yeah.
I think Josh Reynolds has to step up in a big way, being a vet.
Yeah.
Um,
But he's the right kind of vet. And so is Cortland. He's the right kind of vet for this roster. He's a do-it-all. I'm not above any task. I'm going to run block the hell out of my assignment. And that's what you want on a roster like this.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Devon Vele, I mean, an obvious, almost perfect replacement in stature, size, play style to one Tim Patrick, who we just let go. And we didn't see as much of him as I'd have liked to in the actual preseason, but the things we did see that we saw from him in camp, I mean, obviously we weren't there, but we got to see plenty of clips from people sitting on the berm. And Devon Vele looks like a beast, man. So,
dude, he's only a year younger than Sutton. That's bonkers.
Dude, it's like COVID. It's how many of these guys are older rookies because of freaking COVID, man? It wrecked everything. So
it's true. So I just got my biggest surprise out of this was that we didn't keep an extra because of the Troy Franklin situation. If Troy Franklin showed more and we were more confident in what Troy Franklin brought, then I'd be all good. But
and I'm not confident in Troy Franklin right now. I'm not.
No, I'm not either. And honestly, to be quite honest, I'm not confident in Mims. Mims hasn't shown anything from a consistency standpoint. He's a wild card. He's a burst wide receiver. So I will tell you what, for fantasy purposes, to spin this in a whole different direction, draft Cortland Sutton because he's going to be getting 10 plus targets a game. Cortland Sutton is by far our number one wide receiver, and we're going to lean on him a lot.
And just real quick, speaking of fantasy football, how did you fare in our draft the other night, Jay? Because I'm pretty happy with my team.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Well, you had a very good team, I will say. I checked out your team. But I will say one quick thing that people don't forget. Drafted TJ Hawkinson in the last round of the draft just to throw him to IR and add another player on free agency this morning. So, suckers!
All right, that's fair, but whatever. No, man, I'm pretty pumped. I'm pretty pumped about my team. I believe I got the highest grade. In our draft.
Well, we were tied. I got an A as well.
Oh, okay. And I know this means nothing. I know that, things can shake out in a totally different way, but right now my team is projected.
Yeah. I'm projected number 3. Touche.
I feel pretty good about that. But
there you go.
Outside of fantasy football, let's talk about actual rosters.
Just real quick, we got Mundungus in the chat. What up, there's our and then Dave Glassman comes in with the exact sentiment that we kind of ended that conversation with. Javonte is going to be, a trade deadline candidate, depending on the situation of where we are. If we're a playoff team, then don't get rid of Javonte. We got a chance. If you get a ticket to the game, anything can happen. For sure.
Give me just a second here. I'm going to check something. Mundungus says I sound very far away. Hey, Jay, do I sound a little bit better now?
You do. You do.
My mic just might have been a little bit too far away. Here's the thing. I've got my kids here. I've got my god kids here. All of them right now. That's 6 children. Okay. And 5 of those are under the age of 5.
Woof, woof.
And I get my podcast equipment set up early, and then I run off to do something. I don't remember what I was doing, and I come back, and 2 of them are sitting here twisting. No, it was not taking a poop. I would claim that because I'm proud of my poops. But no, I come back to my computer or to my podcasting area here, and 2 of them are just sitting here on my sound mixer, just twisting knobs. And I did my very best to get it set back. To get it set back to 1. Give me just a second, Mundungus. I'm gonna look at this because he says I still sound very far away. Let's try this. Hey, how is that? Is that better? Is that
Dave
better?
Glassman says Jay's a little louder. People have said that, Dave. People have said that in my life. It's a triggering moment there.
We're not talking about in the bedroom.
Well, bounce chicka wow wow.
Okay. I've done everything I can right now to fix it. So hopefully now it's a bit better.
D-Rock.
Tillman,
D-Rock.
he says Tillman has to make the practice squad.
Well, when we get to the defensive side of the ball, I mean, he's a name that I am kind of floored didn't make the roster. Similar to kind of a Jonas Griffith release that I was just, oh wow, like he didn't play his way in. Very surprising. But we'll get to that, D-Rock. But nice to have you here, bud.
Very much. I like Tillman, and I really hope that he ends up being on the one on the practice squad. 2 doesn't get poached, because I'd like to have him here. If somebody does go down.
Yep.
So, yeah, let's continue on with the offense here. We may not get to the phrase is incomplete tonight, and that will be okay.
That's all right.
But back to the offense. Right, meow. Here we go. All right, so tight ends. We are at the tight ends now.
Kind of already spoke about that, of just Atkins being the wild card that I think everyone's a little surprised. Everyone else had the 3. Like, there were some mumblings I saw for people saying, oh, I don't think Kroll's going to make it. He's been really shitty in the preseason. But, like, there's no way he wasn't going to make this roster. Not surprised at all.
No, not even a little bit. I mean, it was. I mean, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. Does that make sense?
It's basically a Dulcich injury worry and a Kroll consistency worry. And if you really combine them, you get one complete player. So you have to carry both of them.
Yeah. I think Dulcich will get there. I really do. I just think he has to actually spend enough time on the field to do it.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I know. I'm the same way. Cuz all right, so I mean, not big shock. Nate Atkins, Greg Dulcich, Adam Troutman, and Lucas Kroll make the 53.
Yeah, check.
Now, I was kind of surprised. Most of us had the Broncos carrying between 7 and 8 offensive linemen on our 53-man predictions, but the Broncos ended up carrying 9 offensive linemen. Very interesting. Let's say the names and let's talk about it. Alex Forsyth, Luke Wattenberg, the 2 centers. Alex Palczewski did make the 53, one of the guards. No, he's one of the tackles. My bad.
He's tackle. Yep.
Mike McGlinchey, Garrett Bowles, Frank Crum, who I'm sorry.
Pitchfork.
That one, that one I was kind of like, seriously? I mean, you can click it, Jay. Are you serious right now, bro?
Well, oh man. George Payton had a quote. George Payton had a quote today saying, like, well, you don't find many 6'7" tackles that have the bend he has. Like, he's very raw, and you can see the potential in pass protection, but like that guy is god awful in run blocking. And he does give up a speedster on the edge for a pass rush too. So like,
you have somebody you have somebody on that side of the ball, on the defensive side of that ball, who's got a quick get up off that line. Frank Crum is left in the dust.
If I were Bo Nix's family, I would pray to God Frank Crum doesn't see the field this year.
Oh my
God! That's great. All right, we got Ben Powers, Quinn Miners, and Matt Pert all making the team as well. Naturally.
Yeah. Crum's the only one I had problem with, or any sort of, I don't know about that. I would have rather had Throckmorton because he's interior. Seems like we carry a lot of tackles, but I get from a talent standpoint, I understand the whole Crum thing. Again, another undrafted rookie, which is nuts that we have, I think, 3 undrafted rookies that made the 53. That's nuts.
Here's a couple interesting facts about this 53-man roster before we continue. Now that we're done with the offense, there are 6 of our 7 draft picks from this year made the 53. 6 of our 7. That's pretty impressive. And then, like you said, the Broncos have consistently every year for many, many years, there's been at least one undrafted
Sure.
free agent who's made it. But in this class, on this team, there are 3 undrafted free agents that have made the team.
That's great.
So, I mean, that's 9, that's 9 rookies total on this team. And that's pretty impressive, man. I mean,
It is. I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing, but that's where our
it's
team
young.
is right now.
We've already talked about it. It's young.
Yeah, it is, but there's a difference between stacking young players that are highly regarded and stacking young players that nobody wanted in the draft.
Well, I agree, but they all, how many times have we seen guys like Rod Smith, Chris Harris Jr.,
Philip Lindsay.
be dudes that slipped through the cracks in the draft to be, I mean,
Touche.
I'm just saying, oftentimes they're guys that went to a smaller school or just didn't have the college tape to put out there. But
Well, and a lot of 6th, 7th rounders will literally advocate for teams not to draft them so that they have the pick of where they want to go, as opposed to being forced to a roster in the 6th or 7th. And sometimes you get, comparable money. There's no money drop off. So
not really. You're not making as much as a lot of the guys on the team, but you're making money.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I say we stop. We've done with the offense. Let's talk defense. Let me see here. Defense. All right. The initial Denver's 53-man defense. Now, I would love to point out 25 players on offense.
A lot.
25 players on defense. They are even completely. And then 3 players on special teams, which we'll talk about them too, but none of them are a surprise whatsoever.
Yep.
So let's just go, Jay, go.
No, I was just going to say I had a lot less issue with defense than I did offense. I disagreed with some things on offense, but defense I'm pretty on brand with.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. I'm sorry. It's been a very long day. I'm a little tired. I'm a little sleepy, guys. The beer isn't helping either. Let's talk safety. All right. We got PJ Locke. We got Brandon Jones, Devon Key, J.L. Skinner, and Keydron Smith, who definitely earned his way onto this roster.
He deserved it. If we believe preseason matters at all, he is a repercussion of you earn your spot, and he earned his spot.
In a big way. In a big way.
I'm going to break out the Tebow slang. The Tebow, all he does is win, win, win. All he does is win. Is that Keydron Smith? So I like him a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he was everywhere he needed to be at all times, and it was impressive. We got another new name in the house right now, Northcutt Productions. Here's to you. It's a new name to us. Definitely going to be passing a whole lot with 4 running backs and 5 wide receivers. Hey, if it's what helps Bo be the best he can be, I'm here for it.
Yep.
We got Alex Smith popping back in saying, don't see the point of letting go of Samaje Perine. Here's the thing with Samaje Perine. We've kind of talked about it a little bit more on some of our previous shows. But one, you've got, the one thing that kind of set him apart from the others was his ability to pass catch. And we've now seen that Javonte can catch, Jaleel McLaughlin can catch, and Audric Estime can catch.
True.
All of them are on rookie contracts. Costs a lot less, saves us $3 million against the cap to let him go. And at the same time, that one, I talked about this, right after preseason game 1, that bobbled pass that turned into an interception. While the interception in and of itself was bad enough, the reason I was actually pounding the table for Samaje to go that day was once the pass was intercepted, he was running around with like a chicken with his head cut off and ran into one of his own teammates and actually injured him. And to me, that makes him a liability, which is somebody I do not want somebody on this team who's a liability to his teammates. So I can understand the veteran experience goes out the door, but his skill set, it's already been spoken for by all three of the guys that are on the roster, or by three of the four guys on the roster. So,
not wrong.
Dave Glassman, good internet, Johnny. Thanks, buddy. I don't think I've ever had the Isaiah issues, but Isaiah and I did. Mundungus and I had sat down and talked, and he was like, I might be his router. And so we looked at his router, and he's like, no, this is a brand new router. I've changed it 3 times. So we took a look at his computer, and we came to the conclusion that his computer was having the processing just wasn't strong enough for the streams, because then he went live on his iPad the other day for an episode of Fresh Squeeze.
All good.
There's
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it at all. So we came to the conclusion the issues with his computer. He's going to start working towards getting a new laptop, but he is, when he does go live, he will be doing so on his iPad to make things a little bit better. So there's that.
Just to follow up real quick, Alex Smith saying we can't be blaming him for the one mistake in the preseason. You're right, but we can blame him for making too much money in a roster that is constructed upon the lowest cost for every positional group. And that's what we've been seeing is anyone that makes some money on this roster. We're not ready to win this year. This is a building year. This is a construction under construction.
This year.
That's a bonus, though. That's gravy. That's not the expectation, though.
Yeah. And while I can see what you're saying exactly, Alex, and I totally agree, you can't. I'm not trying to base his cut specifically on a single play in the preseason. It just made me. Okay, here's. I would expect what I saw from him in that play when the pass came up in the hands of the cornerback on the opposing defense. What I saw from him is the kind of reaction I would expect to see from a redshirt rookie in that moment. Not a guy who you consider to be a seasoned veteran, the most experienced running back on your team. I would not expect to see that. He literally was like, what do I do? And then he turns and runs and injures Ben Powers. Now, granted, Ben Powers, it wasn't a severe injury, thank God, but it could have been. He had to get an MRI on his ribs after it just to make sure that he didn't shatter ribs. That to me, it just given that coupled with the fact that his skill set is now covered by other guys on this team who are cheaper, it makes sense to me that he was
expendable.
At that, exactly.
It has nothing to do with his preseason performance. I think we could say that. No. Even if he was perfectly fine in preseason, he would have been a cap casualty just for the money he's making.
He would have been because he makes $3 million against the cap when we're paying 3 guys. We're paying 3 different guys who all can play the way he does in different ways.
Yep.
And we're not even paying his salary, his $3 million salary, to those 3. So I mean, It is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not necessarily sad to see him go. He's not, in my opinion, a fan favorite.
I mean, the only reason he saw success last year, let's be honest, is because Russell Wilson can't read the middle of the field, and that was the only middle of the field target that Russell Wilson could complete a pass to. Let's be real.
That's a damn good point. That's a damn good point. You know who can read the middle of the field?
Bo Nix!
I was going to say, you know who can do it.
I thought you said go, Bo, go.
Bo time. Yep. It's true.
I love it. And I'm here for it. All right, now let's move on. Do we want to do defensive line or do we want to do outside linebacker now?
Outside linebacker is easy cheesy. I have 0 issues. It makes total sense. Cut and paste, all good. Got no gripe.
Cooper, Baron Browning, Nick Bonito, and freaking Jonah Ellis. Dude, that kid is on his way.
Solid stuff. Yep.
I
love those 4.
Stuff.
That 4 of a group is going to be great as rotational pieces. Love him.
D-Rock asking, I'm not sure if we looked into available inside linebackers, but who would we like to add, or who would we like to add as additional talent? You know what? I haven't had a chance yet, D-Rock, between working all day, being a dad, and then jumping onto this show. The best I've been able to do is just go through our 53 man right now. So I will go through others later. I'm just not where I'm not where I can be just yet to answer that question.
I think
Okay?
Lavelle. I was going to say, if we want to skip on inside linebacker with Sternad, basically in one preseason game solidified his spot.
Damn right he did.
Although you could say the exact same thing about Lavelle Bailey with his huge interception for a touchdown.
96-yard pick six.
But, he's vibing. He played extremely well. We all knew Singleton and Barton was going to be there. That's no brainer. Jonas Griffith, and we got at least a new name to me, Mikey Feets.
Mikey Feets. Here you go, Mikey. Here's to you. Cheers.
He likes it. He likes it. I got no problem. Jonah Griffith he's going to be on practice squad, or we'll try to put him on there, and he could very well be back on the 53. He's not leaving the family, I don't think. With his injury history, I don't think he's going to be swooped from practice squad. So more to come, I think, for him.
Mikey gives us a cheers back. Well, that deserves another cheers, just because I like to drink more beer.
I'm more of a Cinnamon Life guy, Mikey, just if you wondered. So,
Cinnamon Life is the superior life cereal, okay?
100%.
Although I do enjoy the blueberry.
Oh, gross. You're sick.
Oh, you're sick. I'm sorry. He says whiskey guy. Well, that's great, Mikey. So am I. However, I only drink this whiskey on the I only drink whiskey on the show when we have victory.
Bruh.
It's I call it victory whiskey. So, tune in after every game when we win, and I'll be drinking whiskey with you, brother. So there you go. Alex, whiskey, damn it. Yes. Whiskey, absolutely. Listen, I live in north central Tennessee. I am right on the Kentucky border, literally right over the border from multiple Kentucky bourbon distilleries. Okay, I've done the bourbon trail. I love my bourbon. I mean, it is my thing. Thing is, I have expensive taste when it comes to bourbon.
Damn it, Johnny!
Well, what do you want me to say? I have very expensive taste, and so the only time I drink the whiskey is when I'm celebrating, because because it is expensive stuff. I got bottles. I have several bottles of the Broncos back-to-back blend from Breckenridge Distillery. But my favorite bourbon of all time is Eagle Rare, which when I first discovered Eagle Rare was not considered a top shelf bourbon, but I thought it tasted better than top shelf. And then the world caught up to me, and they discovered, holy shit, Eagle Rare is an incredible top shelf level bourbon. And now what I used to pay $20 a bottle for on the Fort Campbell Army Post Class 6, I can't find for less than $120 a bottle.
You're killing me, Smalls.
So, I know. Kills me. But anyway, moving on. Let's talk. We're talking inside linebacker. Yeah,
let's finish our top row here.
Yeah. Just to finish up, Lavelle Bailey definitely earned his spot with that 96-yard. Great vision on that return.
Yeah.
To get that pick, to make it a pick six, and I think he definitely got that. Now, Alex Singleton, I've always had a massive hard on for Alex Singleton. I love the guy, and I'm so pumped. I think he's the obvious green dot for the season for the Broncos. And
he is.
I mean,
he's the leader.
And here's the thing: that dude is going to continue to build on what he's already begun with the Broncos. He is going to break. I mean, he is going to at least 190 tackles on the season. I would almost predict maybe 200. At least 200, maybe.
So I think so too. And I think Singleton and Barton are going to be perfectly fine. But I think if we find a vet to pick up it's not going to hurt us. And I think Sternat will be expendable if that's the case. So I think Bailey makes it even above Sternat if we find a vet. So I think that's where that room goes.
Yeah,
Bailey's
and like
so.
and back to what had been asked of us by D-Rock regarding inside linebacker there. You know, I haven't had a chance to see who else was released today. So, you know, from other teams, once I do, I'll hopefully have a better answer for you.
Yeah.
But I'm just not
but
there
like
right
Mikey
now.
says, like I would like to find a vet. I think that is a room where we need a vet. Because I do not want to get destroyed in a run sense. Granted, we got tackling machines in Singleton and Barton.
Yeah.
But
we need a vet. We need a vet because that room needs to be filled with dogs.
Yeah.
A vet,
Woof, woof.
dogs. Okay, I'm out. I'm sorry. That was bad. That was really bad. All right.
It's okay.
Let's talk. Like you said, let's finish up this top row. Cornerback, Tremont Smith.
Special team superstar.
Yeah. I was surprised to see Pat Surtain II made this team. I was shocked,
Oh, yeah?
honestly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, totally. I was shocked.
Are you serious right now, bro?
Best player on this team, Pat Surtain II. Riley Moss, my boy. So pumped. Hey, I'm sorry, Jay. He won the job, and you know it's true.
It's true. I'm a little bitter, but he is the great white hope, so I will bow down.
He is the great white hope.
Whatever.
Jaquan McMillan, or McMillian, as he's been called. And then Chris Abrams-Drain, KAD. That dude is an animal. And I think he's going to become a very well-known and very well-respected cornerback in this league. And then, of course, the veteran brought in to be kind of a placeholder, but also brought in to bring veteran experience to this room, Levi Wallace.
Levi Wallace, I think, is going to have a massive impact on that room for the entirety of the season.
Now, when you say massive impact on that room, do you mean impact on the field or do you mean impact behind the scenes?
Both, because he's a vet. He knows what to do. I just kind of feel like he is. Oh my gosh, the name is losing me right now. Who
eluding
was the vet? Yeah, eluding me. What was the vet we had last year? Fabian Moreau. Yeah. He is far better than Fabian Moreau, and he fills in that role of a guy that he's first up for an injury, and depending on if Riley Moss falls on his face, Levi Wallace is going to be consistent. So I like him a lot.
Fair enough. I do too. He just needs to get he just fucking needs to get healthy.
Yeah, correct.
Let's see.
Correct.
Mikey says they're going to need to get a contract done for Surtain soon. His price is going up.
Ain't it? Yes, it is. Yes,
it is, and it'll get done next season. I guarantee. I doubt it's going to happen in season, this year. But I also think he's one of those players, you do whatever the hell you have to do to keep his ass on this team.
Yep, I would agree.
Like, you cut whoever you have to, you restructure whoever you have to, whatever. I mean, granted, luckily, next season, Russell Wilson's big money hole drops off for us. So that'll be $85 million we have back.
We still have some hit. We split it. It's a 2-year stint for Wilson's, but it's not as bad as this year.
Not as bad as this year. So you have about $42 million, towards the cap that you'll be able to get back. So I mean, it'll get done. But Douglas, at least we don't have to go into the season dealing with Mathis.
He's triggering me.
Jay, do you need to go to your safe area?
Hey, you know what? He's making this team, and he will place meaningful snaps this year. So that's all I need. Okay. He's good.
Okay.
He's fine.
All right. Defensive line. DJ Jones and Yoma Owazurike. And yes, I just said that right. You all should too. And Yoma Owazurike. John Franklin Myers Jordan Jackson, Malcolm Roach, and Zach Allen. Okay. The one I think of these guys on this list that I'm most excited to see more of, big number 94, Jordan friggin' Jackson.
So that's another. Is it Sean Payton or George Payton? It was one of them that said, like, that was my guy. He's out of Air Force. We had him circled on our draft board, and he got away from us. And another team swooped him up. And as soon as he became available, that was like the first guy we pounced on. So like they've had him circled for a long time.
Yes.
So it is very cool to have one of those kind of, and I think it was Sean Payton actually. One of those Sean Payton guys that like he truly believes in as a player that there are no expectations for, but is going to surprise a lot of people with his play. So I'm happy he's on the 53.
Mikey absolutely agrees. Love that they kept Jordan Jackson. Was a stud this preseason. Mundungus says he was on the team last year. And yes, he was on the team last year. But, Jay was referring back to before that. But the point is, like, he's not a rookie. But we saw him be a home wrecker. That sounds dirty. We saw him be a home wrecker in the preseason this year, and I loved what I saw out of him. I loved his get off, and I loved his power. I want to see more of it. And then of course, obviously we names that we're not so shocked to see on here. DJ Jones, who has been better. I felt like he'd underwhelmed us up to this point since he joined the Broncos. But I feel like he's doing a lot better when surrounded by the likes of Malcolm Roach and John Franklin Myers.
True.
And then of course, Inyoma Owazurike, he showed some good stuff coming back from a 1-year suspension. Remember, if you have a gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLING.
I did. But it's 401k over 5.5 wins, for God's sakes. You heard it here.
Yes, absolutely. And then Zach Allen. I mean, Zach Allen, what an animal, dude. I cannot, now that he's been in this system for 2 years, this will be his second year in the system. I can't wait to see what he's going to do, because that dude is he is a young JJ Watt. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
He is.
I mean, for one thing, he got to learn at the hands of JJ Watt himself and Chandler Jones. And then he gets to come here. I'm very excited to see what else he brings now that he's been in the system for one full season, and now he's in his second season in the system. We saw it. We saw him. I was actually surprised with his lateral speed, Jay. Did you notice that?
Yeah. I mean, dude, he's very dynamic. The only thing I'm just a little hesitant about is just, again, health, making sure that he's good to go, because I don't know. That room a little bit scares me. DJ Jones, was a little underperformer last year.
Yeah, a little bit.
Dave.
I want to answer this. I want to, but we have sworn that on this network we would stay apolitical. We would not even touch politics. And to pronounce it the way that I pronounce it would show exactly where I stand politically, and I can't do it. So, sorry, buddy. I'm not answering that question.
Bo Nix for president. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, there you go. But I mean, is he the Democratic nominee? I feel like he's the independent.
Yeah, he would be green. He's in the state of Colorado.
Yeah. The Democratic nominee for president, it's Kamala Harris, isn't it? This is how
Kamala.
This is how little I pay attention to politics. But
Kamala
Harris.
Kamala, yeah. Slip, slap, slappy, slip, slip, slip. Yes, I think you're right. Something like that.
Think so. All right, we got one. So we've gone through 50 men that have made this team. We got 3 more to go through. So let's do it. The last 3 to make the team. Boom. Your specialists. Who's shocked? I am.
What a stud picture out of Riley Dixon there.
Dude. I mean, the dude's beautiful. Look at that hair.
I mean, he
Oh.
should be fighting McGregor in a line dance.
In a line dance. A dance fight with Conor McGregor. Hey, as long as it's not Logan Paul, I'm fine.
This is true. Good God.
Ugh,
Don't drink
God, I
Prime,
hate
people. Don't drink Prime. Don't support that.
hey, my son loves Prime though.
Well, all kids love it because they see it on YouTube.
No. He loves it because he discovered it through a soccer, a soccer buddy. But
Oh,
Mundungus, I've gone through 50 men. Jeez, you whore. Yes.
yep. Still
Yes.
swinging.
And you know what? I don't remember any of their names. That's
Yep.
right.
That's why we're drinking, Mundungus, okay?
They were just another swinging next to me.
Oh,
But anyway, kicker Will Lutz, punter Riley Dixon, and long snapper, the same one we've had for a very long time, Mitchell Fraboni. Oh my God, I sound like I screw up his name every time because every
yeah,
time I see it, I want to
Frabroni.
start saying, I want to say Jabroni. Just and then I get
He
caught up
is.
in myself.
He is a jabroni. I guarantee that's his locker nickname.
Jabroni. You're a fucking jabroni. But
Go
anyway.
hike the ball, you jabroni. Get out of here.
Get
Forget
out of
about
here.
it.
But anyway, he's been the long snapper for the Broncos for a long time. Riley Dixon is, in my opinion, one of the most accurate punters in football right now. He may
Yeah.
not have the cannon leg of Punt God or some of these other guys.
Well,
But
I don't want to talk about Punt
puts-
God. That's a whole
Hey,
nother
he's on the
subject.
Chiefs now, right?
Oh, I know he's on the Chiefs. My Chief
Yeah.
fan friend
Oh.
announces that all the time. That like he was cleared of all charges. He's the best punter in the league.
No,
You guys
listen.
are gonna blah blah
Listen
blah
up.
blah 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 blah.
Here is what I know, okay? After working in law enforcement for several years, I can tell you right now, just because you get cleared of charges does not mean you're innocent. It
Yeah.
just means that they couldn't find enough evidence to convict. It is that simple, okay? Like, I'm sorry, Deshaun Watson, he could end up being cleared of every single charge against him. The guy is still a predator to me.
Hey, do we expect anything less from a franchise that employed Tyreek Hill for as many years as they did?
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
Yep. That's right.
Dave says he was in a Raise advocate the whole time, and that's your right, buddy. I mean, we still love you.
He's
But
a
no,
chef now. He's dead to me. I don't care what my salutations were before.
But I do like Riley Dixon, not because he's got the cannon leg, but the guy, he can.
Accuracy.
I swear to God, that guy can drop the ball on the head of a pin.
He can.
And he does it. He pins it inside the 5-yard line often and enthusiastically.
Yep.
So very well. I like that. And then of course Will Lutz. I'm very excited to have him continue as our kicker. He started out on this roster with some struggles early on, but he has since been nothing if not consistent and reliable. So there you go. 53. Let's see. Mundunga says it was proven that he wasn't even there. That's why they cleared him. Okay. I'll take your word for it, Mundungus.
You're saying he ran from the scene like Rashid Rice.
But at the speed of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only for a Chief fan, okay? Everyone else gets the benefit of the doubt.
All right. So that's it, guys. That is the 53-man roster. Initial. It could change in the next 2 weeks. I mean, we still have 2 weeks before we see this team actually take to the field for real. Oh my God, Jay. Real football action.
Super excited.
But things can change in that time. And so we don't expect that this will look exactly the same in 2 weeks.
Yep.
It could.
It's true.
It could, but don't be surprised if changes happen. But it still has been a cool day. Like I said, for me, the 53-man roster cut down day is the unofficial start of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are.
It's true.
Love your I forgot to mention, by the way, I love your shirt there, cuz your Skull Buffs, and I'm guessing based on the look of it, it's obviously a D-line original.
It is. Even though he is a CSU Ram, he begrudgingly wants to sell shirts. So obviously he produces CU shirts because I'm sure they sell far better than Colorado State Ram shirts.
I was literally about to put on one of my Shador Sanders T-shirt tonight for this show.
The watch.
And I was like, nah, you know what? I'm just gonna wear my Broncos shirt tonight.
I mean, hey, speaking of real football, Thursday night, ESPN, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Stampede starts, and North Dakota State, your ass is grass. It's gonna be a bloodbath. So.
Damn, Mundungus is like speaking fighting words for this show.
My gosh,
Elon wasn't such a little bitch.
Hey, between that and your Damari Mathis blasphemy, I'm thinking you have it out for me, Mundungus.
I'm thinking we may have to dissolve our MHRT partnership.
That's all right.
No,
hey,
that's
I
not
know.
happening.
Between him and Cameron Parker, I will be in Lincoln September 7th. So reap it and wheat. As long as Colorado wins that game, I could care less about the rest of the season.
Mikey
Just
agrees
beat
with us.
Nebraska.
Go see you. And and here's the only thing about college football that sucks for me is that I'm a child of two teams because I grew up my entire life being a CU buff, but I went to the University of Missouri, so I root for both my alumni and my childhood team. So it is what it is. But I do love my buffs. And Mundungus says 5-7 for CU. That is
as if whatever. Get the picture, duh. No way.
Oh my God, Jay.
No.
Bro, no, just no. All right.
No.
Guys, thank you for joining us. This has been the Nothing Rhymes with Orange and Blue podcast here on the Orange and Blue Network and on the Mile High Roundtable Network, the MHRT Network. Please, if you have not already, jump on over to the Orange and Blue Network on YouTube, X, Facebook, and everywhere you catch your favorite show, audio podcasts. Please give us the like, the subscribe, and share over there. But then I need you to jump on over and give a little love to us on MHRT Network, on YouTube, X, Facebook, Twitch, and even on Instagram. Come check us out. Give us the love, the like, the subscribe. Let's share it and build the Orange and Blue crew because we need to continue to grow the family. We appreciate you all. I'm so pumped. I'm so fucking pumped for this season. And now it's almost here. So, guys, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here because it's late and I'm tired. But go Broncos. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's gone.
Orange and blue, we're here for you. Talking Broncos all day through. No stopping us, we're on the loose. Come join the crew, no bad news. Podcast vibes so fresh and true. Nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Catching up on all that we knew.